Welcome back to the Arsenal Insider YouTube channel. I am Alfie, Cairns, Culshaw, and I'm once again joined by Rosie Tudball. Rosie, how are you doing?
I'm good. Feeling good after 2 wins. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, lots happened since we last did this. Obviously, we advanced in the deal to sign Eze, signed Eze, and then beat Leeds 5-0. But before we get into that Leeds stuff, the transfer window is ticking down. We are less than a week or a few days left in the window. So we are going to be chatting about that in today's episode. We're going to discuss potential targets. Obviously, Arsenal have done a lot already this summer. Seven players, almost 200 or over 250 million pounds spent. So there's not a lot more we can do, but we are going to both pick one player who we believe we could still add just a little cherry on the top to sort of cap off what has been a incredible and unprecedented window for us. Before we go into specific players, are there any areas of the squad, Rosie, that you're looking at that you think maybe we could do with just one final piece?
Aside from centre back, obviously we've got Hincapié who's been linked to us, which is that would be a great signing. I still think the left hand side is a little bit short. I'm still a bit wary that we're kind of juggling between Trossard and Martinelli. I know obviously we've got Madueke, but with Saka injured, we've seen how quickly things can change. So I think it would be nice to get a quality acquisition in on the left. A youngster or an experienced guy. I don't mean break the bank for it, but just someone else to add there.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if Kivior and Zinchenko go, you've gone from having Tierney, Kivior, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly, Calafiori all on that side to just three. And like Tierney, Kivior, and Zinchenko were making squads. They were all sort of playing a bit towards the end of last season. To lose all three and then not replace any of them would be leaving ourselves a little bit short, particularly with Calafiori's injury issues. I'm a little bit concerned about that. So I think that is probably the obvious area. Let's get into it then. Who do you think we should be signing, Rosie?
I think a good shout. I mean, obviously excluding the centre back, we're in talks with. I think Malik Fofana from Lyon looks like a pretty good player. He's been linked to Everton, so I don't know what they're thinking about him. I don't even think we've been strongly linked to him at all. But I think he's got like a release clause of around 30 million euros, or whether that's just his value, I'm not 100% sure. But I think he's a 20-year-old left winger. Suits the left side, right footed. Has shown that he can turn up for Lyon. I mean, his goal and assist tally last season was really impressive. So I think him in terms of like growth and then thinking about the future, one day, probably very soon, we're not going to have Trossard available. And we don't know what's going to happen with Martinelli. So I think getting a youngster in and developing him on that left side could be good. And I don't think he'd cost a lot of money for us. So good for competition, good for finances, and just bolsters the squad depth even more.
Yeah, he looks like a very good player, and I think he is one that we've looked at. I actually met an Arsenal scout over the summer, and he said he went to watch Malik Fofana um, for Arsenal. So I know that he is definitely a player that we've looked at. We both said we should be getting a left-sided defender, but neither of us are going for that because I'm also not going for one. I'm gone for a bit more of an exciting addition. Probably one we don't really need, but I'll just do it for how funny it would be. Tottenham have supposedly pivoted to Xavi Simons after missing out on Morgan Gibbs White and then Eze. I think we should do the funny thing and just hijack that one as well. Get Xavi Simons in. I wanted him at the start of the window. I think he is the perfect profile. Yes, it's getting a bit crowded when you add Eze in, but maybe you could do a last minute sell of Martinelli to Saudi or Trossard. I know he's getting the pay rise, but you could somehow ship him off and make room for one more glamorous signing in Xavi Simons. He is similar to Eze in that he's a left-sided 10, kind of. Could play left 8, could play left wing. Very creative, very good passer, very good dribbler, good ball carrier. We saw him score that excellent goal against England in the Euros for the Netherlands. And it would just be funny to take another one of Spurs' top targets away from them at the 11th hour and leave them with nothing left. Not sure where they pivot to there. I don't know if they put in a desperate 90 mil bid for Morgan Rogers or something, but Yeah, I just think for the funniness we'd do that. Can't really justify it from a sort of investing in the squad when we have probably the left centre back slash left back area is the more pressing area. But yeah, I'd just love it if Berta just pulled that one out. Yeah, any thoughts on Xavi Simons?
Well, he's obviously a great player. I think the Eze things does, throw a spanner in the works in terms of what we are going to be looking for, in terms of, top quality signings until the end of the window. But as you said, like that hijacking Spurs, I mean, getting Eze anyway was going to be so exciting, and then to do it how we did it, and just seeing the uproar was a real dopamine hit. Like I've never felt anything like that before. So, yeah, why not do it again? It'd be really funny, and he's a top player. I think if we didn't go for Eze, we should have gone for Simmons. I think he's brilliant, and as you said, they're so similar. I think he'd go really well in our system. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, the Tottenham head loss was glorious. When I saw that Ornstein bomber out of nowhere, was shocked. We might be doing that anyway. We might still be hijacking one of their other moves, Hincapie, which we will get to. But let's move on to the Leeds game. 5-0 win, and I think this was a return to what we expect from Arsenal. The United game was a bit weird in that we weren't ultra controlling. We were trying to play really direct, and it didn't really suit us. And we looked unusually vulnerable, sort of in transition when United were going long and trying to get the second balls. This was much more in the classic Arteta mold, like ultra control. Wasn't the most exciting sort of half an hour, but we won 5-0. And Leeds had, what, 3 shots, none in the second half. I think they finished with like zero point 0.1 XG or something. Like it was a very dominant performance overall. Yeah, general thoughts on that Leeds performance, and on the style of play. More happy to see us return to this, maybe not the most exciting style, but one we know is effective rather than sort of experimenting with what we did against United.
I think with that game, if you told me at half time that we were going to win 5-0, I would have not believed it. I mean, before Saka scored, I was really worried. I was like, this can't be sort of like what phase 6 of Arteta's project, and we're playing like this. Like it was just catastrophic, wasn't it? It was so boring. And the players that we had on the pitch, I just couldn't really comprehend how we weren't doing more than we were. And then it's just weird, Odegaard goes off with an injury, which was a massive blow. Obviously, losing Saka then early into the second half, and we start playing. Um, I think maybe like Nwaneri coming on and doing what he did. He's just a bit more direct than Odegaard, I think. In those sort of ways. I don't know if it's because he's more hungry. He's obviously got a point to prove. He's not as tactically sort of put into like a box of sorts. So I think that made a massive impact, and it was just nice to see us playing more freely. And then by the end, we probably could have scored another 3. So yeah, really weird game of 2 halves, and I thoroughly enjoyed the second.
It was dull, but we've kind of come to expect that with Arteta. And it sounds mental. A lot of teams in the league would love to win a game 5-0, even if it's dull. But we've kind of come to expect that with Arteta's Arsenal. It's very controlling, methodical, but it was effective because Leeds didn't lay a glove on us throughout the 90 minutes. And yeah, obviously Liverpool up next. Huge game at Anfield. We obviously haven't won there since, I believe it's 2012, Van Persie brace. So yeah, it's a ground we historically struggle at. Any early thoughts on that game, Rosie?
I feel confident, but I feel like is that going to come and bite me? I don't know. After watching Liverpool against Newcastle, and against Bournemouth as well, the way they were getting cut open through the middle was well, we didn't see that last season at all. We haven't seen it for years when Klopp was in charge. And it's sort of we've strengthened in that area quite significantly. Especially if Eze comes in, we've got Rice, Zubimendi, and Eze, 3 players that can really just completely take hold of the game in the central areas. So for that reason, I'm confident. I think their back four looks pretty shaky as well. Van Dijk, obviously, feel like he's going to pin to Gyökeres. So, if I was Arteta, which I don't know if he's going to take any pointers from me, but I'd be telling, get all the attackers around Gyökeres that he can play people off, because their defence look really shaky, really, really shaky. I think I've read, only Wolves, Leeds, and West Ham have conceded more goals than Liverpool so far, which is, quite something. So, yeah, quietly confident, but also it's Anfield, isn't it? There's a bit of a tax with us there, so it'd be brilliant to win. I would be a bit gutted with a draw, considering the differences, as I've just said, between how we both started. But unbeaten at Anfield, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, I think I'd take a draw still. Um, but you're right; it is a good time to play them. They've got some issues. Yeah, shaky defensively. Like the fullbacks, obviously they're transitioning a little bit from Trent and Robertson to obviously Frimpong will be out, but they'll probably be playing Bosley at right back unless they trust Connor Bradley. So there's definitely room to get at them in those wide areas. Um, and yeah, it's a good time to play them. So I am somewhat optimistic that we can get 3 points, which I haven't said at Anfield forever, basically. Yeah, let's go back onto transfers. And obviously, we are interested in Piero Hincapié, a left-footed centre back slash left back from Bayer Leverkusen, was instrumental in their invincible season when they won the Bundesliga 2 years ago. It looks as though Andrea Berta is pushing for a loan with an obligation to buy, because obviously we're at the very we're stretching our finances this summer, so we want to sort of delay the payment until next summer. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to be spending in excess of £300 million, because I think, yeah, Leverkusen are looking at about £50 million asking price, or 52 million, €60 million release clause. General thoughts on Hincapié?
Bit of a surprise, to be honest, because I just had no indication at all that we'd be bringing in a top quality defender after Eze. I honestly thought that 6 signings and then some sales, we might bring in sort of a Rodrigo might have done, but Eze and now possibly bringing in a really good defender. He's only 23. Perfect fit for what Arteta wants. He's very similar profile wise to Calafiori. Can play on the left, can play through the middle. Really good progressive player. So yeah, I'm surprised in the sense that we could be spending another 50 million on a defender in this window specifically. I mean, when do we ever spend 300 mil in a window? It's been pretty good. It's been fantastic, actually. Pretty good is a bit of an understatement. But yeah, I think it'd be a brilliant signing. Again, hijack the Spurs deal, so it makes it even sweeter. But yeah, it is a surprise, really. I don't know if you think the same.
Yeah, I was shocked. As I said, like I do think we kind of do need a left-sided defender just for numbers, but I didn't expect. I thought it'd be more in the sort of Mascara realm, like a low sort of punt signing, low cost for like 10 to 15 million or something. But looks like we're trying to go big, and maybe he comes in it. He is just the first choice option. Who knows? And obviously Rodrigo, probably not going to happen, but I think that would be the absolute icing on the cake if we somehow got a deal for Rodrigo over the line, maybe a loan deal. I can't see it happening unless Martinelli or Trossard is somehow going to leave, or one of them will be out the door. Any quick thoughts on Rodrigo?
I'm kind of mixed on him. I think he's obviously a top player. Um, there's no doubt in that. He's got over 100 goal contributions for Real Madrid. He's 24. Not many players manage that. But with Martinelli, their numbers are pretty similar last season. I mean, we can't sort of be so dissatisfied with Martinelli and then look at someone like Rodrigo, who is kind of in the same boat. He's more, he's a high quality signing. He's more majestic in those sort of sense. But I think that would be more of like a statement in the sense that, like, is it going to improve the squad or does it just look good for the club? So I think he'd offer us a lot more. We do need something quality, I think, on the left side still. But whether he's the right guy, I mean, he wants to stay at Madrid. He's got massive wages. Would he sort of disrupt the like the profile of the players? In the front line, we've got three, wingers, not three wingers, sorry, two wingers and a striker who are very sort of humble. They want to play for Arsenal. Do we bring in someone that quite clearly doesn't want to play for Arsenal? He wants to stay at Real Madrid. So I don't know if that would unsettle it. I don't know if it would unsettle the balance of how we play in attack. So, early into the season and late into the transfer window. So not entirely convinced, but as you said, I'm not also entirely convinced it would happen.
Yeah, and you said there, like Martinelli's in the Brazil squad, and Rodrigo isn't at the moment. So it's not going great for him. Yeah, they did have similar numbers. I do think Rodrigo's got the track record of previous seasons performing at a very high level, and I think he had a bit of a down year, which makes him a risk. But yeah, he has been excellent in the past, and he was playing on the right, obviously not his best position, and in quite a dysfunctional Real Madrid team, doing all the sort of defensive work for Mbappe and Vinicius. So I still think he's great, but I do understand there are definitely reasonable reservations around him. Anyway, that's it. Whether it's a defender, midfielder, or a forward, Arsenal have options to consider. Who do you think Arsenal should sign before the window closes? Let us know down below. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you after the Liverpool game. Come on, you Gunners.